Top of the night, morning to you. Now, we're gonna go ahead and get this started. I'm gonna try for the night, but most likely it's gonna be in the morning or afternoon. One or the other. You know, it'll go up when it go up. But this is what I will say. We got some interesting conversation going on today. We got some more delusion, some salty delusion, and some various other segments. So let's get it started.
Bro, the Hodge twins, like, bro, the shit that they do is like, I get they're making a bag, right?
Let me guess, they go too far. You of all people should not be commenting on how far they go. It's like you forgot what your clips are about.
But you're still stuck in the ghetto eating bags of cereal and top ramen with combustions of meats, calling it spaghetti.
Yeah, we can keep going. You want to keep going? Come on, let's go ahead and do some extra credit. Let's go and drop another one in there.
How come everybody's scared to do this when it comes to blacks? Like, where's the fried chicken? Where's the watermelon?
So we just gonna act brand new, huh? we just gonna act brand new. We just plausible deniability, right? I guess if you don't say it, it don't exist, right? We act like it didn't happen, so I guess it just didn't happen. But yeah, this is not the first clip. There's plenty of. You got a whole statement, a whole name, Balrog, and you could just be like, oh, well, that's just comedy. I mean, to them, that's comedy. I mean, I don't get it, but hey, it is what it is. Different strokes for different folks. Pause.
Like a picture is a Saturn stick.
But they fucking, the shit that they do, bro, is like, it's not even like remotely unbiased. Like, that shit is 1,000% biased. It's not.
I mean, you know how I go when this ain't really something you understand, but basically when people build an audience, they have to cater to that audience. And once you start presenting yourself that way, you're going to have to, because if you don't, you're going to lose your audience. Something like Lucas. I think it was the Amazing Lucas. He had a platform like that. And then eventually he got to a point to where he got tired of it and was like, hey, this isn't true, yada, 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 this problem, that problem, but they don't want to hear it. And honestly, this is either fan base. This doesn't matter if you're on the Democratic side, doesn't matter if you're on the Republican side, sorry. Because if you say anything they dislike, they'll disown you too. So as long as they're agreeing with you, it's all good. That ain't the fan base to have. You can't even be yourself. But some people cool with that, and that's what they do. They even said it. They were like, when it comes to the analytics, that's all they worried about. And all they worried about is making money. So when it's all said and done, they gonna keep that up to keep padding them pockets.
They don't come up with a solution where how this guy could have avoided the situation, or how this person could have avoided the situation had they not done this and that.
Nah, they actually do. They do. I mean, they joke more than they say what you should and shouldn't do. But after they make the jokes, they do have caveats to say, nah. Like, basically to let you know that they're playing. Again, me personally, I wouldn't do it simply because that whole thing of trying to fit in with another group of people or making your content appear as if you're trying to fit in. Hey, I mean, if you in it, that's what you like. You know, it's all good.
It's just complete black bashing 100%. But that's how they make their money, so.
I hear what you're saying, but specifically, how do you make your money? Because I'm looking at that sub count, and it's not looking too good, man.
Yeah, that's how they make their money, to be honest. But eventually, look, black fatigue is hot right now, so maybe they'll be able to do it forever. Maybe they won't.
What'll happen is they'll do it as long as they can, and eventually they'll cross the line and say something about the wrong person, just like Don Lemon or whoever else, because they get comfortable, disrespecting. People are being disrespectful or thinking they're being funny and catering to that audience, and that's cool, because honestly, they're not even being real. And the thing about it is, when you're not being real to yourself, eventually the cracks are going to show, and you're going to slip up. And when you do, you're going to get your wake-up call. Now, I'm the type of person that says, you have your analytics, right? And you do whatever your analytics say. But if you're going to follow your analytics, you still got to be true to yourself. Now, I like clowning you, making fun of you, and joking on you and all that, because this is more of a hobby for me. I like to do it. Now, if it comes to a point where I don't like to make content about you, or I don't like to respond to you, I just won't be doing it. And that's where a lot of content creators go wrong. Just because their analytics say something, they're like, oh, I got to do it. Oh, I got to keep doing this because that's what people want to watch. That's where you mess up at. Like this, and actually this is going to segue into the next topic, because I mean, pretty much just, we all know what it is. The Hodge twins, they changed. What happened was they saw how one of the videos did, and they were like, you know what, forget that, I'm gonna just keep doing this. And that's cool. If that's what you want to do, that's how you move, I can care less. My opinion is all people, we ain't different. My opinion, we ain't none of us different. Because when you think about it, it's about the rich class versus the poor. There's no middle. It's them versus us. And right now they got women versus men. So they want all of us to be going at each other so we can't work together. Who benefits from people having hatred for each other or putting somebody slightly above somebody else? That's a war tactic. Basically divide and conquer.
Like I seen a video of theirs recently. Like me, I don't hate blacks. I'm a right.
This is actually
Shut your
LowTierGod.
ass up, you raw. Shut your ass, raw gas up, you ass. God damn, man. It's always these fucking niggas. But the way the Hodge twins talk, they just talk like they just like hate niggas 1,000%.
All right, bro. Okay.
Like they don't want to, like, if a nigga comes up to him in person, like, yo, Hodge, yo, can I get a pic with y'all? And he got locks. They'd be like, you got a weapon on you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually accurate. I could see them saying that. Now, does that mean they would? I ain't saying they'd act like that in real life, but yeah, they might.
Or something like that. Like their shit is just, I get it. It makes them money and shit like that. But that shit is like the way the Hodge twins do it is like completely biased. Like me, my shit is more so jokes and.
Come on, bro. We got full-blown compilations of you talking crazy.
Like if I do raw fatigue content, I'll come up with a solution or something. I try to be a little bit more, but I would just void you to a spot with all these swole, black, zesty.
Yeah, see, he has solutions. He tells you exactly how he'll fix it. But let's go ahead and go on to our next segment, man.
I quit being an influencer this year officially.
Let's talk about why I decided to return to a 9-to-5 job after being a full-time digital content creator.
The Wall Street Journal just published an expose on how much influencers make, and it's not much.
Yeah, see, content creation is a labor of love. It got to be something that you really want to do. You can't get into content creation thinking, oh, I'm going to be rich and I'm going to make all this money. Dude, I'm going to just make it simple for you. A 10 to 12 minute video that I do can take anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours. Then I got to go through an evaluation process, which takes another 1.5 to 2 hours. If it's a 45-minute video, it can take an upwards of 11 to 12 hours to do that video. When you go into your job, you'll make about like 8 to 20 something an hour plus based on where you work. When you do these videos and you see 2,000 or 5,000 views, you're making between 20 to 40 something dollars for 7 to 8 hours of work. Yeah, it's below minimum wage.
So today we're going to be going over a topic recommended from one of you guys. Please make more of these influencer quitting videos. It's very informative and gives more perspective behind the scenes beyond what these influencers show you. I know that this is the new dream job for many right now, but people are starting to realize that you can't just upload a few videos or posts and expect to just start rolling in the money now.
And see, this also applies to streamers as well. A lot of rappers, let's say for example, DDG for one came from a different time where people who are like DDG or these streamers / rappers who are like T-Pain, and they're like, man, you making all this money on streaming. No. You are making that money streaming. That does not apply to everybody. Now, if you already have notoriety doing something else, people will watch your stream if you're somebody they were a fan of. Like if Tech 9 started streaming, people will watch Tech 9. If Hobson started streaming, people will watch Hobson. Kali Uchis, I can go all day. There's plenty of people, Kendrick Lamar. It would not matter because they have notoriety elsewhere and people will be interested or want to see it. So people get a misconception that, oh, they just came in there and started making all this money. And then they said, man, shoot, you make more money streaming than, no. You make more money streaming.
But let's just start off with this clip.
This is my story of why I decided to quit being a full-time influencer after a year and get a job in corporate America.
Also, yeah, don't do that. Even though you're not doing anything wrong, they don't like it when you're on social media. They'll fire you behind being on social media. So if you got a corporate job, really if you got a job anywhere, stay off of social media if you want to keep your job, especially if you got a high paying job. It's not worth it.
So, reason number one why I decided to not be a full-time influencer anymore is honestly money. This came down to stability and my long-term goals, and I felt like I could just reach those financial goals quicker if I wasn't an influencer. I also may have jumped into being a full-time influencer sooner than I wanted to, and I had to bust my ass to honestly make as much money as I wanted to every month. I was taking on, I'm not even joking, like 12 sponsorships a month.
And I want to address this too. Just because you work hard on social media does not mean you're going to get a sponsorship. It does not mean you're going to get views. It is not guaranteed. Like, you can work as hard as you want to work. It does not guarantee you're going to get viewers. Now, there's certain things that you can do that can garner views, but that doesn't mean it's going to hold the audience. So let's say you might get away with doing a little something for a little while, but that isn't guaranteed. It may not hold that audience. It's all about longevity. Once you cross the 5 to 10 year mark, only then do you really start to see, is this really something that I could proceed to do? Because there's very few people who just get on there and they blow up like lightning strikes, boom, 50K, 100K. That doesn't happen for everybody. And a lot of times people see these success stories of you're looking at the successful people. The reason why you always see the successful people is because they're pushed in the algorithm. You don't see the millions of other people who post every single day, still do edits and all that, and they're getting 80 views, 100 views, 150 views. And a lot of these people who you see getting views, they didn't just start content creation. They were content creators before. These are new pages. So a lot of times when you see people come into when they come into doing this, they've already got experience. It doesn't matter if they came from school, if they were creating content in 2008, 2009, they were already doing it. So there's a misconception that people are popping out of nowhere just getting big. No, they already created content. I'm not even a new content creator. I've been doing content for over 20 years. So whenever I distinctively make certain decisions about my content, it's because I've watched other content creators. I've seen what captivated me. I saw what caught my attention. I study for hours. So I'll sit there and study other content for 7-8 hours. And I'm like, okay, why did I watch this? What made me watch this? What made me click off? Why did I stop watching? You get what I'm saying? And so it's not just about getting on the camera and just making a video. It's not about just, oh, I wrote a script or this one thing interests me, so I'll make a video about it. Okay, what's going to be your next video? You see what I mean? It's a constant grind. It's harder than a job. And I don't know why people thought they were going to be able to quit their jobs and be a content creator. You've been misinformed. Stop listening to these scammers online. These old buy my course online head ass creators.
Just to make ends meet, and that was just not the vibe for me. So how many sponsorships do I need to take every single month? Am I willing to do that? And what happens if I don't get that many sponsorships? And I did have multiple streams of income. I was doing Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Oh, and speaking of TikTok, millions and millions of views on TikTok get you like $10, get you like $10, $15. Instagram Reels, you got to clear like 10 million to get like $100, $130, something like that.
I had Google AdSense from YouTube. I had my like to know it, and my affiliate links were starting to do really well. So even though I had multiple streams of income, sponsorships were without a doubt like 80% of my income.
You see what I'm saying? See what she just said? The sponsorships were about 80% of her income. Peddling other people's products was about 80% of her income, which means what? She was not making money on social media. She made a little bit of money. She made a few dollars here and there, but the sponsorships is what kept her afloat. And everybody can't get sponsorships. It's not easy to get sponsorships.
So if I wasn't getting brand sponsorships, things were rough.
Okay, so I think you know my stance with sponsorships, but especially with the influencer types that don't really have a niche other than just showing their lives. That's really the only way that they can make money, is to just shill out products from other companies. And even though you've probably heard deals with massive YouTubers and huge TikTokers for thousands, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's not easy to obtain. So in the end, your content just turns into infomercials on whatever product you're sponsored by.
Yep, sitting there giving you reference codes for gotcha games and peddling gambling platforms. Yeah, that's where a majority of those are at. There's always a different one of those games.
She said she had to do 10 or 12 of them a month just to be able to get by, too. It's not like she was making a ton of money. And even with corporate America and the job market not doing too well right now, if you can land a job, that income is much more stable than anything you see on social media.
Let's talk about why I decided to return to a 9-to-5 job after being a full-time digital content creator. So I recently moved back to the US after living abroad in London for 4.5 years. And while I was there, I was a full-time YouTuber. So I was vlogging about my life abroad and uploading pretty much weekly.
About 4 years, so roughly about the early 2021, 2022. Yeah, that sounded about right.
Living abroad was an amazing experience, y'all. But after a while, I started to realize, like, I can't talk about this forever. I was starting to feel a bit bored and burnt out from sharing my day-to-day life because not every day was super interesting. And I started to feel like I was living to make content.
Oh yeah, and as you start to miss days, it starts to feel like you're drowning. You start to feel like you're behind in life, like a feeling looming over you that you have to get that upload done. So you don't feel relieved until you upload that day. So like she said, that's a whole nother part that people don't talk about. And the longer that you don't make content, the more you don't want to come back to it.
You know, like everything had to be content.
Okay, so a couple things here. The situation's a little bit different than the first. This person did have a niche. However, it was too small of a niche, I would say. She was living abroad and it's fun and exciting. You can make videos and posts, but as she said, eventually you just kind of get bored and tired of it because not every day is going to be the coolest day on the planet. And especially if you're known for that type of content, like living in a specific city, you're kind of stuck because that's all people want to see out of you.
And then the other thing, it becomes extremely expensive because once you kind of milked, let's say you milked London as much as you can, now you got to go to somewhere else. Oh, now you got to go to Australia. And then you got to milk Australia for a good 6 months to a year. And before you know it, you have to keep going places because they're watching you for your abroad experiences. Or your experiences abroad. I think I said that wrong. Yeah, your experiences abroad and traveling. So they're going to constantly expect you to do that. And traveling is not cheap. It is not cheap to always do something every single day. And not to mention what didn't get factored in inflation. So now when you travel, it's going to be even more expensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's a rough one.
She also talked about the same thing as the first clip, of course, the lack of stability, and also talking about benefits that you would get from a normal 9-to-5 insurance. And I think a comment from one of you guys goes very well with this clip. The reason that girl ran out of new exciting things to post and others don't is that they just lie. They just create fake scenarios and make videos about it. That's why she shouldn't figure out why she ran out of things to do. I mean, there's a whole host of TikTokers who just make completely fake stories up, fake relationship issues, first dates, just in the eyes of entertainment. So why wouldn't people do that for a vlog?
Okay, and I just want to put this into perspective, right? Let's think about traditional TV. Think about when they used to make an episode, right? These episodes did not drop every single day. When they would make these episodes, it would take weeks to a month. When people make a movie, it takes a long period of time. And you got to think, just think about this. If you're posting every single day, you have to think of something entertaining to do every single day. While TV shows and episodes and all that took weeks to produce, they didn't make those overnight. They wrote scripts, they had scenes, they had all this stuff going on. Whether it's an anime, they had to write the script, they had to draw it out, they had to animate it, had to get everything clean, had to bring it to production and all of that. It's not it's not easy. And I really want to hammer that in, because there's too often that people say, man, right now you could just go get this app and this app will tell you everything you need to do. Oh, you could just do these AI videos and yada, 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 and just do that. But what you don't know is right now it's cheap. Right now it's free, but they going to charge you. Right now it's just $9.99, but their price is going to go up the more that people do it. The more that people do it, the easy or the lazy way is going to be expensive. You want to go on there and use them AI tools? Okay, yeah, they cheap right now. You know, $130, $200 a month. What you gonna do when it's $500-$600 a month? Do you know the Adobe suite is like $600 a year? It's not very expensive, but if you're not making no money on social media, you can't just keep getting hit with a subscription model of something you don't use. And they made it to where you can't just buy the programs anymore. They make it difficult to just buy the programs. They switched a lot of this stuff to subscription models. So if you think for a second that you're about to come out here and just be a content creator and you ain't got no money to do it and you're doing it to make money, it's gonna cost you more money than just working a regular job.
weeks. And adding on to trying to make everything in your life interesting every day. If you watched Casey Neistat back in the day, I believe he made a daily vlog for around 800 days and he ended up stopping. This is somebody who is a professional filmmaker, knew what people wanted to see.
I want to put that out there. I want to emphasize that. Professional filmmaker. He was not just a regular person with a camera. He was somebody who was an expert with that camera. He was an expert with them analytics and doing what people wanted to watch.
And it almost cost him his marriage. He was so burnt out. He basically doesn't really make videos anymore. Once in a while, he'll upload something. So if you do end up picking this type of niche, it probably won't go on forever. We have a set of screenshots here, why I quit influencing, the beauty marketing, so happy I did. First thing, hyper-consumerism and selling products, a lifestyle that I didn't fully believe in. Now, every time I hear something similar from an influencer who quit, they kind of say the exact same thing like this: I'm so unbelievably grateful for every opportunity and love every brand I've gotten to work with, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. But especially if you do the beauty influencing, that's all everybody cares about.
Yep, you literally will turn into a commercial. Your everyday videos will be a different commercial. And again, that's what's crazy. The crazy thing about it is it's not even that it's just a hard thing to do. It's just after a while, you just get tired of, okay, let me set the camera up. Okay, let me get the angles right. It just don't feel like it. You're like, man, then I gotta upload it. Now I gotta put it together. Then I gotta put the music behind it.
The newest product from this company, and here's a get ready with me, and here's the link in the description for it, as everything just slowly increases in price. I mean, if you ever walk around Sephora, it is insanely expensive for how little product you actually get. And your job is to sell it to everybody who's watching. No one talks about the vanity. All your content is around you. Kind of seemed like that was pretty straightforward to me, but I felt so narcissistic creating content about me 24/7. Looks and self-image become far more important than intelligence and inner beauty.
And believe it or not, like, even though, let's just say, if you see an attractive woman constantly just making videos or doing that or looking at her, that you get tired of looking at yourself all day. You get tired of trying to glam yourself up all the time, trying to be attractive all the time. And you have to keep in mind, this is not limited to your videos. When you walk outside, you have to look this way because people will put you on blast for not looking how you look on your videos. So now it's twice the work. So not only do you have to cater to the audience and constantly make sure you're on point, you got to constantly make sure you're on point when you go places, to the point to where you almost don't even want to go outside. There's a whole lot more to this than people talk about. I'm just glad now. I'm happy now that people are being honest and they're being truthful about what it's really like versus just selling people a dream, having to mess their life up and then going into it thinking that it was something completely different than what it actually was.
Again, I kind of thought that was a given if you're in the beauty niche. This industry is brutal. No one will tell you how awful many of these beauty influencers are. A lot of them have gotten exposed for it as well, and people still watch. Fear of losing relevance, keeping up with the trends, beauty fads, just constantly having to sell the newest product to your viewers. Personality splitting and self-censorship. You have less privacy, fear of making mistakes in the public eye. It's like being under a microscope. You're always being watched. The larger you get, the more people know who you are. And the last one, going viral changed my life, but also didn't. Everyone wants to go viral, but no one tells you what happens after. You get a high you can't explain. I've talked about this many times. Getting attention online is basically like a drug, and if your video just explodes and gets millions or tens of millions of views, it's pretty unlikely for that to happen again.
And not to cut him off, because he heavy cooking. This is a barbecue right here. Yeah. Are you capable? This is another thing, the psychology of it. Are you capable of going from, let's say, 10,000 views to only getting 800 to 1,200 views? Let's do a bigger scale. Let's say you do one that do 100,000 views. Are you able to handle going back down to only getting 5,000, 7,000, 2,000 per video and still staying motivated to make the content, or just feeling as if people don't really want to watch it? You see what I'm saying? So there's even a big psychology behind doing it, even when you start to kind of gain success, because that's what will happen. It will fluctuate, and none of it has to matter to you. You get what I'm saying? So you got to overlook that. But mentally, it's not an easy thing to do. It will mentally bother you, and you can actually see it when you watch certain creators and you look at their content from when they're getting a bunch of views to when they're not getting as much. You'll see the content change, you'll see the motivation change, you'll see how they make the content changes. You'll hear the exhaustion in their voice, the irritation, I'm just paid to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
So you'll be chasing that high from now on.
Do I feel low-key nervous to post this? Let's talk about why I'm quitting being a full-time influencer. For context, I've been full-time with lifestyle content here and on Instagram for about a year now. I'll also say it's been going really well lately. I've had awesome brand deals and I've been making more than I made at like any of my previous jobs ever in my life.
Okay, I just wanted to put this short clip in to add on to this just being another vessel to sell you products, because this person had similar issues compared to the last, having to talk about yourself 24/7, of course, because you're a lifestyle and beauty influencer. There's nobody else but you, and then talking about and trying to sell all of those products from sponsorships. I thought it was interesting in this comment section, the top comment, I quit being a full-time influencer and I honestly don't know how I feel about it. I make way less money, but I hated how scamish my content felt.
And that comes with sponsorships. And then not to mention, some of them could be a scam. And when you sell this to people or they buy this product, and they, let's just say they make yours the good version, but the real version of it's trash. They just did a really good one for you, or they changed it out and gave you something else while you're selling that to other people. Yeah, now you got to deal with the backlash of that product. And there's been a whole lot of times that people have taken these sponsorships and these products be no good. They be scammed. The audience gets ripped off. It's just a whole different, huge array of problems that it ain't even worth it because your face is on it. Yeah, the company may have been sorry or the company may not have been good, but you're going to take the consequences for it because you pushed it to your audience. Another thing that gets left out.
So this person had 300,000 followers before she stopped, but her saying that she knew how scammy her content was, I think is very interesting. I feel like everybody has to hide it when it comes to the TikTok shop sellers, because the amount of low quality Temu level products people are trying to sell you, they're straight up lying to you just so you buy the product. And it seems like this ex-influencer couldn't handle that anymore. But we have another comment from one of you guys. If you manage your money right and know how to invest and save, you could turn your influencing career into something that you can build on. Unfortunately, a lot of these people spend their money showing off their lifestyle, and when they inevitably become irrelevant, they are broke.
And also, it's easier said than done. When people say stuff like this, you got to keep this in mind. Okay, why don't you just become an influencer and do it? Why? Because it's not easy. The same thing is the mind frame and the knowledge and the education about how all that other stuff works. They don't know that. They don't default know that. People don't default know this information. They have to seek this information out. And when they spend a majority of their time making content, they're not focused on everything else. What people fail to realize is if you have all this business information, you have to sacrifice time to do this. It's easy for you to say because you don't create content. You can listen to education while you're riding around, while you're at work. But when you're a creator of content, you're more focused on producing your own content. So you don't have that spare time to educate yourself on all this other stuff. And then you have to know what to look at, what to look into.
Everybody likes to think that if they do start getting insane numbers, that they're just going to get the same amount of attention for the next decade or two. And that's just not how the internet works. I mean, you could go in and out of popularity within months or even weeks.
Man, there's too many people to name.
I mean, there's a ton of stories of big YouTubers making millions of dollars and now they're broke. Jason Nash, right off the top of my head, is one of them. And solely relying on money that's coming from Google AdSense or the TikTok shop can be very dangerous because you are not in control at all.
TikTok is still screwing me over financially. Several weeks ago, I noticed that many of my videos were no longer making me any money whatsoever through the Creator Fund. And on June 14th, I looked into it and found out that I had, in fact, been disqualified from the Creator Fund.
And I knew quite a bit of people who went through that. That's not just him. That's not a rumor. I know people who get millions and millions of views. And I ain't talking like 1 to 2 million. I'm talking like these people are getting like 15, 20, 30 something million going viral. Going viral to the extent that when they go places, people recognize them. And they are not making any money on either one of those platforms. Not Instagram, not Facebook, nor TikTok. Yeah, it's for real, man.
Why, you might ask? The reason that TikTok gave me for removing me from the Creator Fund was that they identified my account as a business account. This all came as news to me, but I appealed the decision, and then I switched my account back from a business account to a personal.
You see what I'm saying? That don't even make any sense. What would it matter that if it was a business account? What, because you sell things? So you can't sell things and get funds from the Creator Fund? That's dumb. If that's the case, then well, if we gonna say it like that, well then that means that all creators should get the exact same amount of money. So if somebody gets more views than somebody else, they shouldn't get more money. But just off of technicality, what you're saying, because you're trying to make it quote unquote, I guess, fair. If that's the case, then everybody gets the same amount of money regardless of their views. But see, you're not gonna do that. That doesn't make any sense. There is no difference between somebody being a business on social media versus somebody just being a creator. It does not make a difference. Any reason, huh? Any reason to pull funny business.
Count, which I thought would just solve the problem outright, but I was wrong.
Okay, so I've heard a wide variety of issues when it comes to the creator fund on TikTok recently. Either people getting kicked out for no reason, this includes massive TikTokers with millions of followers, or the way that they get paid, the ad rates or affiliate links just drop down to virtually nothing. So they're still bringing in a whole bunch of views or sales, they're just not really getting any money for it.
Yeah, because I know when I look at their platform, I don't really understand how or where they make their money on TikTok, as far as like they take money out of the donations, which is why they push the live, because when people donate, they get a percentage of that. And then, you know, obviously from selling items, but as far as like their ad revenue, I'm not seeing where their ads will be. And then even to put an ad on something, the video has to be longer than a certain amount of time. Like you can't put ads on a 12-second or 15-second video. And then on top of that, that type of audience that's on there is not going to be sitting through an ad. They're just going to scroll and go elsewhere. So again, you still got to pay people. So people who run the platform, moderated, keep the servers up and everything else, you got to pay for all that as well. So I'm not understanding how they have to pay all these people, maintain this platform. And you get what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's not as simple as just, oh, people just upload on it and then it's all money. Nah, that's not how that works. So it's like, I don't know where they make their money. On YouTube, it's very clear and very apparent. There's an ad on the side. There's an ad on the bottom. There's a little ad on the bottom of the thumbnail. Or there's a, you know what I'm saying? Or a video ad pops up every 4 to 5 minutes, or depending on who you're watching, every 2 to 3 minutes. And then based on if you're watching mobile, you can get hit with an ad every 45 seconds to a minute. So you know where their money's coming from. Them other platforms, I don't know where their money is coming from. And it could just be to me being ignorant, but I'm just, if I can't look at your platform and see how you make money, you ain't making no money.
And at that point, if you're relying on that income, what are you supposed to do? Here's another example of somebody getting a ton of views and how much they actually made.
I had a video hit 50.4 million views on TikTok, and I'm going to tell you what I made on it. There are very few people that can probably say that they've had a video hit 50.4 million views. The video went super viral. We had everybody contacting us wanting to repost the video. We had ridiculousness emailing us. It was insane. And do y'all want to know what TikTok paid me for a video with 50.4 million views? $1,300.
Her name is Thick Filet. That's funny, but nah, what did I say, right? I told y'all, you know, on YouTube, that's about 150 grand. It's about 3,000 per million. But yeah, I told y'all they ain't making no money. Cause how, like, for example, on them 50 million, how did they monetize those 50 million views? Where did they make money at on those 50 million views? She got the views, but how did the platform monetize the views?
$1,300. I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but I'm just saying, y'all out here thinking, oh, the Resilient Jenkins, their videos are crazy with views. They must be getting mad amount of money. No.
But yeah, I just wanted to give a realistic perspective, because when a lot of us say it, a lot of people don't want to listen. They only want to listen to the glamorized nonsense, just like with the Chase situation. People was running up there doing bank fraud, check fraud. They seen it on TikTok when we were sitting there trying to tell you, hey, don't do that. You're going to have to pay for that. But no, people want the fast money, or they think that it's easy. So go ahead, have at it. But don't say we didn't warn you. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.